Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. In this video I'm going to review The Collector from 1965, directed by Wyler. And this is a very interesting film, I think. I've always admired this film. It's kind of a psychological thriller or horror film about Terence Stamp, who is this very lonely individual, but also quite sick man who kidnaps Samantha Eggar's character, and then he keeps her in his basement. And he's not trying to abuse her or anything. He really just wants her to be there to be his love for his life, because he is very much in love with her, and wants her to see him as a potential partner so they can get married. But of course, it's not so. She doesn't take it as nice as he thinks, since she is of course kidnapped and she can't really get away. So there's this very creepy atmosphere to it, and it's directed by Wyler, as I said, and it's a different type of William Wyler film. It's a bit more intimate in that sense. It's primarily only these two people acting in this film, and they are absolutely fantastic, both of them. I think Terence Stamp is the highlight, but I also really think Samantha Eggar is great. The thing is, he is so great at using his body. You can really feel that he is this sick man. He can almost like just walk like this and feel so stiff, and you can also see the transformation in his behavior. Suddenly he's very nice to her, and suddenly his eyes get very intense, and he gets creepy. I think Samantha Eggar in the beginning, her character is perhaps a bit, I'm not saying she's annoying, but there are some things where I feel perhaps this film is a bit dated, where she seems perhaps a bit too tough, or perhaps I am not saying she isn't a tough character. I just think like she can almost feel a bit too theatrical, if that makes sense. But I think you really start to really feel for her, and she really also has a wonderful face, and both of them have terrific eyes. They are made for the screen, and they have great. It is just primarily those two, like I said, people acting in this film. So I really think it's incredible that these people really carry this film. And it's also a strength I have to give Wyler, because I've always said that Wyler was outstanding with actors, and this film really showcases that. And like I said, it's interesting when you look at Terence Stamp's character, because he's really trying to be friendly. From his perspective, he's trying everything to be as nice as he can. He tried to respect her life. He doesn't want to use her sexually or anything. He really wants to be recognized by this woman, and at the same time he's also very jealous about her class, and he feels looked down upon, so he's very frustrated in about her at the same time as he fancies her. So I think he has a great character development. And he's not really, like I said, he's not really a guy who he doesn't feel he belongs anywhere. So therefore he has just this place out on the countryside where he lives. I really love the atmospheric score by Maurice Jarre. Isn't that how you pronounce his name? I can't really remember how you pronounce it, but you know who I'm talking about. Very creepy, but also a bit silly score. It's kind of both creepy and silly at the same time. It's almost playing like, because I'm always looking at Terence Stamp's character almost like he is a child in a way, a grown-up child who wants to impress a girl. So he's kind of living in a fairy tale, and this score kind of have that fairy tale tune in a sense, but yet it changes a bit, so it's also a bit creepy. But what I also like about this film is like suddenly it's quiet. It knows when it has to be quiet. So there is some so when the music comes, it's really intense, you know. Yeah, and I also really much just admire the whole opening scene where Terence Stamp's character is following Samantha Eggar. You're just watching him from his car and driving up to her, and he's stalking her and observing her from the distance. And there isn't any dialogue, so it really have a great show don't tell storytelling here. And if I have a small issue with this film is perhaps it can be a bit too repetitive near the end. I don't find it too long or anything, but there is some scenes where I feel like perhaps the climax should arrive earlier than it does, because I'm not going to spoil it if you haven't watched it, but I do feel like there's a great climax scene near the end where there is really a big confrontation between these two characters. But I think it should have it should be earlier in the film. But overall, this is a very, very interesting film. It's kind of also like you can definitely feel it's kind of a film made in the 60s, and it has a bit like it's a bit old school in a way, and yet it also tries to be a bit modern, so you can kind of see that theatrical technicolor look. At the same time, it also has some scenes where it feels very much like a film from the 70s. You know, there's some handheld camera in some scenes where it's very, very effective. And one final thing about it, I also, my favorite scene in this film is the shower scene. If you haven't seen that, when she is in the shower, that is very suspenseful and it's very Hitchcockian made. But yeah, I would highly recommend The Collector if you haven't watched this film. Thank you so much for watching this video, and let me know in the comments if you have watched The Collector and what you think about it. I hope you will all have a very nice day. Bye.